Hey, good morning viewers, and welcome to this special program where we're discussing and we're having a discussion in honor, or in preparation if you like, for the International Day for Museums. Did you know there was an International Day dedicated to museums? Yes, there is one, and that is 18th of May. But there are things that happen in preparation for that day. Have you been to a museum? If you say yes, when last were you there? When do you plan to go back to a museum? If you haven't been to a museum before, why haven't you been there? Probably you don't know. In this discussion, we are going to discuss the International Museums Day, but it's also a platform for us to unravel the phenomenon of museums. Why should you go? When you go, what do you expect to be there? And we have the relevant stakeholders in the studio to help us break down the issue of museums in line with International Museums Day. By the way, the theme for International Day for the Museums is Uniting a Divided World. If you're wondering how does that work, don't go away, we are going to break that down. How do museums unite people in a divided world, which is more divided than ever? How can we use that to come together? We are going to listen to that. Let me introduce my guests in the studio. Immediately to my left, probably your right, is Dr. Jacqueline Nyirakiza Besigye, who is Acting Commissioner, Museums, Sites and Monuments. You told me about sites now. Welcome, Madam.
Thank you very much.
All right.
It's an honor to be here with you today.
Very nice. And next to her is Mr. Vivian Liazi, Commissioner, Tourism Development. Mr. Liazi, welcome.
Thank you so much, and glad to be here.
Very good.
Good morning.
And lastly, next to him is Prince, I need to say that carefully, Prince Chitaulwa Abraham, Chairperson, Uganda Community Museums Association. Welcome, Prince.
Thank you so much for hosting us, and I'm glad to have the viewers, happy to see us, whoever is watching, especially those from Busoga. Please, IMD is coming to Jinja, and we are coming.
Yeah, I was about to ask about Prince. Tell me about Prince before we discuss the three things now.
Yeah, by God's grace, I was born among the royal family of Busoga, from Chigulu Chiefdom.
Okay.
So I'm a prince in Busoga. The people who are referred to as who came from Bunyolo to go and rule Busoga. One time you will host me to tell you the history of Busoga, and that's when you will learn how we moved from Bunyolo and settled in Busoga and started ruling Busoga.
We should do a museum piece about that one also.
Yeah, it is there, it has been done, sir.
Yes. But we'll come back to that. And let's move on now to this discussion. Commissioner, before we discuss the theme, of this year's International Day for Museums, let's us understand, paint for us a picture kindly on the current state of museums in Uganda. Where are we from where you sit?
Thank you very much. Once again, good morning, viewers. I'm glad to be here once again, discussing museums and culture or cultural heritage in this country. Yes, we have now moved a long way. Of course, our focus is on Vision 2040, where we are looking at, getting everyone from the peasant to middle income. And as we do this, that's why, of course, we have even the community museums here, because we have been working on different museums or trying to develop different museums. And why are we doing this? You are going to see that we are looking at diversification of tourism products and also widening the product range. And so with this, we had to come in with this component of cultural heritage and start development of museums. Before, we have had 3 museums in this country which were known maybe before 2020. That was Uganda National Museums, Kabale Regional Museums, and Soroti Museum, which were even not there because they were just small rooms. But now in 2024, we opened, His Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, opened the Soroti Museum. In 2025, we opened the Kabale Regional Museum. And this year, we hope to open as well Karamoja or Moroto Museum. And so we are within this NDP4, we are constructing, or we are going to construct other museums. That is Fort Portal Museum, Arua Museum, and also apart from the museums, I have told you that I am a commissioner for also sites and monuments. Yeah. We have worked at different sites. Right now, we have worked on Kikorongo, you know, Kikorongo Equator Monument, and even now we are starting a restaurant. We are going to do other visitor facilities and also creating what we are calling a solar museum, where our school learners are going to be studying or learning about solar or about the sun. And so we are also going to do we have done Nyero, we are working in Balonyo, Dokolo, we have opened also Mugaba Palace Heritage Museum. Mugaba Palace is in Mbarara. We opened that one on 28th of March, and it is now open. People can go there and see the history of Ankole. They can see the oldest artifact, which is more than 800 years old, at Mugaba Palace at Kamukuzi. So basically the ministry is doing that, and you can see we are doing kind of regional balancing, trying to do something the north, east, and south, and west. So that's why we want to target areas where tourists move, and so that we are able to tap on those tourists. For example, those who go to see some of the gorillas or Queen Elizabeth, then they are able to pass. We do something they can easily come and learn also our culture from these different museums.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Commissioner, before I leave you, you said something about solar museum.
Yes.
I couldn't help but hear that. What do you mean there?
Yes, we know that we have the equator line, and we are one of the 13 countries in the world where the equator line passes. And in Uganda, we have more than 7 districts where the equator passes. Among these ones, we have, of course, Mpigi Kayabwe, we have Chikorongo. So at Chikorongo, where we put the first monument, we are working with the government or with the team from Ecuador. Of all of us, majority of us know about Ecuador, where we did a benchmark, and we think with the Chikorongo, we are talking about eruptions, we are talking about, of course, we know about the equinox, we know about all these things. So we are saying that we are working with a team where we are going to put experiments, and we are able to study about the sun, and then we are able to study about the solar of the earth. And so this, we are going to work with the technicians from Ecuador, who are going to help us come up with a solar museum. And we think that in terms of science, our learners in geography, they are going to benefit a lot from that solar museum.
I'm looking forward to that. Eh? We
have started this financial year. We are about to sign the contract, and so we know that we shall break the grounds before end of June.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know all those products, and that's why I need to move to Mr. Diaz, the tourism person.
Yes, please.
Now you heard the commissioner says even solar. I mean, even the equator can be harnessed. That's very interesting. In terms of museums, you are the tourism man here. Are you satisfied where we are, or could we go places?
Most definitely. We are on a very positive trajectory. I think those of you who have traveled or have read about tourism attractions all over the world, museums come out as one of the key attractions that you look out for when visiting any destination. They help you understand the community, the culture of that community, the history of that community, and that is one of the things people look out for when they visit a new place. Not just the foreigners coming into the country, but even us locally as we move around, different parts of the country, you would love to learn more about the Karamajong. Where do these ik come from?
Absolutely.
You would love to go to Kabale and see exactly how the evolution of these cultures occurred. How did Kabale become part of Uganda late in the game? How did Arua become part of Uganda late in the game? So museums have played that role in helping us understand our culture, our history, and how we are evolving as humans. Sometime back, I think in 1840s, a gentleman called Batista said, the more things change, the more they remain the same. Yes, it's very important for people to understand that even then, what bothers us now bothered those people then. Maybe the technologies have changed, maybe the transport systems have changed, but humanity is the same. And it has helped us also to have a cultural understanding and appreciation of each other. And I think that lines very well with the theme that we're celebrating. So speaking about that, we in line with product diversification, I think now we're in a better place, and the future is much more positive. You've been told about the Kabale Museum now. Commissioner should have told you that even the current museum is undergoing a lot of change, and very soon you will see a very different museum than we've had before. The Mugaba Palace Heritage Site was recently opened to visitors.
Last time I was there, actually, I could only stop outside. I couldn't enter.
Wow, now please go there. We've been told about that Vajendanwa. 800 years of history is all reposited there for people to appreciate, for people to learn. Karamoja, another beautiful museum, is coming up.
I really like to go to Karamoja.
Wow.
I was with the IK at some point, and I consider there's a lot that could be gotten there.
It is one of those things, one of those places you should go to very quickly. Very
soon.
Yes. So I think to all our viewers, the museums are an important contribution to the tourism economy. Whenever people travel, they would love to appreciate and interact and immerse themselves in the communities they go to. So understanding their history, social structure, and where they aspire to go is very important, and museums are contributing to that immensely.
Before I leave you, and here we are talking about museums bridging gaps between people, I see that in tourism. Top of mind, you think tourism, you think, okay, national parks. And then, you know, sites perhaps, and yet you don't get the pulse on the museums. What do you think we could do to make museums part of, like, eminent among the packages? What do you think could do? And there are people listening to you there, maybe in business and all that. What would you say?
Yes, historically we've been known more as a safari destination. So when you talk about Uganda and when you talk about tourism, people would understand going to Maction Falls, going to Queen Elizabeth and whatever. We are telling people that Uganda is more than just safaris. Uganda is rich and diverse. And one of those key attractions that really put us out there to understand our history, to understand our social structure and everything are the museums. One of the challenges, of course, has been the limited number of spaces that have been carrying these repositories. Commissioner did tell you that we are only having 3. And the other 2 weren't really much to speak about. It was basically the museum in Kampala. But now we've opened up several more, and more are coming into the picture. But more importantly, also the communities and the private sector have come on board to also develop these facilities. So we have a wide variety of people to, you know, to get this information. The other important thing is promotion. Promotion, because many people didn't know about these facilities. We are out there to promote, to tell, sensitize people that really museums are the way to go. Museums are part of those attractions that you need to visit, and I think that will change the game that we're talking about. And
I'm looking forward to a lot of achievement in that space when you visit other cities, other places, like the person who is your host wants to take you around the city, and they say, we need to go to the museum.
Yes.
Like it's top of their mind, the citizens. I'm looking forward to us getting there eventually. Let me turn to Prince Abraham now.
Yes.
I was reading the background to this discussion, and I saw something, community museums. So we have community museums.
We have a number of community museums in Uganda. And all our viewers, if you didn't know, there are community museums in at least every big town in the country of Uganda. You will find that it is hard for the National Museum to exhibit the heritage of over 65 ethnic groups in the country.
No, it wouldn't.
So individuals or the groups of individuals decided to form their own community museums as initiatives. You find that when you start with Busoga, we started the Chigulu Cultural Museum in Iganga Municipality, basically to cater for the Chisoga heritage.
You have made noise about that one. Even me, I've heard about it.
Very good. Thank you for Now, if you go to like Fort Portal in Western Uganda, we have Kogere or tradition. I mean, Kogere Community Museum under the Kogere Foundation. This is depicting or showcasing the culture of Western Uganda, especially the communities in Bunyoro and Toro. Yeah, you know, sometimes we generalize Toro and we think they are all over Toro. But when you go there, they have the Nyabindi, the Batagwenda, the other small communities that may look like marginalized. Now, this community museum brings out the heritage of such areas. So there are so many museums. We have 36 in number, and 22 are very active. So they are at different levels of development. Some are at an advanced, some are in the middle, some are still upcoming. But for us to take them as community initiatives and community museums. Why did we set them up, maybe?
Yeah, good question.
One, you find that much of what was exhibited in the National Museum had left out a lot for the other communities. Then secondly, the new curriculum entails every student in senior 1 and senior 2 to undertake a research at a museum. Just imagine somebody in Moyo
coming to Kampala
to do a research at the Uganda Museum. So the people in Moyo decided to start Moyo Amadi Community Museum in Moyo in Metu sub-county, where students can go and do the research. Likewise in Bulisa, far away on the shores of Lake Albert. So there is a community museum there for the students in that area to use them. And we are also urging people to start other museums. One wise man told us that life is a story, and your story ends the day you are buried. That is why they stop talking about you. So if you want to be talked about for some good time, then you start a community museum, you start your own museum. Like we have Ham Kasa Museum in Mukono. It talks about the story of Ham, the man who lived around 18 something and died in 1960 something. So for all these years, his legacy is depicted, is showcased in his house, which was built in 1903. So you can imagine. So there are community museums out there, and we urge everybody try to find out your community museum. And these community museums are doing commendable work. They are doing a lot of research for the area around. They are doing a lot of research, especially the intangible cultural heritage. You find that in Africa, much we have the sites showcased, but the story behind the site is not known. And yet it is the story that can sell the site. So these community museums are doing that work. Then secondly, we are looking at the National Museum is looking at the big sites. So the community museums are developing the smaller ones, and where possible, elevate them to the national. Like yesterday, I want to commend the commissioner was in Busoga visiting Waitambogwe Hill to see if it can be elevated now from our level of community to a national level.
Very interesting, thank you. It reminds me, as you spoke, I went to some country, and in the museum they showed me a sword, and they said this was King David's sword of the Bible. I took the guy aside and I said, Banai, is it really a sword? The guy said, you see, you must sell the story.
Yes.
To remember the story, selling the story.
Yes, sir.
And people come for the story.
Yes.
Let's come back to the commissioner, madam. The theme for this year's International Day for Museums is Uniting a Divided World. How can we unpack the theme for this year's International Museums, and how can we make sense of it? There are people who listen to you and they love museums. There are those who are being recruited as we speak. How can we unpack this theme, which is Uniting a Divided World, for this year's International Day for Museums?
Okay, now, of course, looking at our theme, we know that museums are spaces where we bridge or we bring people together for unity, for reconciliation, for peace. If you go to some of the countries, there are even, of course, like in the museums where we have people who come together, you do stories that bring people together to discuss about how best they can live together as communities, and that's why we commend the community museums.
Yeah.
I'll use an example of Balonyo, where we have at least seen the practice of Matoput.
Yeah.
Matoput is in northern Uganda, where you take, I would say not alcohol, but something using the same calabash.
Yeah.
And so these are places where we can come and dialogue. Museums bridge unity because it is a bridge that connects different communities and cultures. And this, I will also give another example. We've had Idi Amin discussions at the museum where we were talking about, we brought together the people then who were affected by Idi Amin, like the children of late Bishop Janan Ruwum, and then we brought the children of Idi Amin to see how they can dialogue about what happened at that time and how best we can present these stories to the public without affecting any of the families that were affected.
Good initiative.
And so these are that's why you find that museums are the only areas where you can go and discuss and then be able to share the piece. So in northern Uganda, still using the same focus of museums, we also, apart from Balonyo Memorial Site, where we created a small museum, we have also been working at Lokudi. We also went to Aboke Girls. And so what were we trying to do? Of course, we knew that in northern Uganda, many people were affected by the war, and they were talking about, of course, the effects of the war, but how best could they come and use museums as safe spaces, because these are safe spaces where we document these stories, and then we look at the road to reconciliation, because we were looking at how best can these people reconcile and trust, even trusting us government, but also trust the neighbors.
Yes.
And so those discussions can only happen at the museums. Of course, we use the artifacts like that Matoput. We use different, artifacts within the museums that then were used as, peacemakers. And so these are there, and we are saying that it is only museums that you can find safe spaces.
That makes sense, Commissioner.
And maybe I will also give another example of Mugaba Palace Museum.
Yeah.
Of course, we know that Mugaba Palace Museum, we have taken back, or we are showcasing artifacts that, as we've mentioned, as old as 800 years. But we are saying that we have created a big space for all the Banyankole to come and do cultural performances, what they have not done before. They come together and dialogue. So this is the only site now that the Banyankole have to go and discuss about how they can promote and also preserve their cultural norms. Because if we talk about Buganda, other kingdoms and societies, you find that they have safe spaces where they can go and dialogue, and use different things like drama, you know, apart from drama, also storytelling. You find that these are some of the things, and as we go to AI, I imagine you're going to talk about AI later. We are getting off the culture norms because now everything is changing. So museums are the only places where we can bridge, you know, even the past, present, and the future. You discuss the past, you shape the present and the future, and then have a generation that is more united. And so I would say that is why the theme currently is really that very important. You are aware that, of course, globally, why does the, you know, ICOM come up with such themes? Globally, we have some conflicts. Absolutely. And these conflicts, we know, like UNESCO, we know that we do protect some of these museums and the sites using the 1954 Convention on the Protection of Armed Conflicts, sites in armed conflicts. And so you find that when you have that protected, or if Uganda is ratified, then you're sure that in case of anything, God forbid, then some of these sites and museums will be protected, because under the international conventions we shall have ratified, and we plan to ratify as a country very soon. And so I would want to say, invite all people outside there, in case of anything, come to these museums, and then we can initiate different conversations. You recall when we had independence at 60, we had also another dialogue when we hosted our president, His Excellency Yoweri Museveni Kaguta, who came to discuss, you know, how it was pre-independence and then Independence Day. And we had, you know, people like the former First Lady, the wife of Dr. Wilton Obote. We had the late, now he's late, John Alika, doctor. We had Mama Mpanga, also now she's late. And so we were able to know how Karamajongs were affected even at that time, what was in Kasese, and how best now have we reunited as a country. So you find that museums actually plays a very big role, or an important role, to bring all these conversations together for the public to get to know that yes, conflicts can be there, but through dialogue we can be able to reconcile.
Okay. And I see what Commissioner talked about is comes from policy and government action to craft. Let me turn to Mr. Yazi, the craft at a tourism level.
Yes.
Maybe even looping in private sector in this case. How do we craft around such a theme like we have this year, bridging gaps between communities? If I'm a private sector person in tourism listening, how can I do the craft around the theme so that the theme stops being just a theme and comes alive in terms of tourism? What are your thoughts?
First of all, I may say that very good examples have been given on the previous efforts that we've made in bringing the discussion alive. And the one we had, Independence at 60, celebrating our 60th anniversary of the independence, the discussion was really rich because we had all these famous personalities that played a role during the independence period, come and reflect on what role they played and how the circumstances were at the time. For those who were not there at the time, and perhaps also recount some of this information for the posterity. You've just been told to have since passed on, and we really captured that
I was
information.
going to ask about the documentation. Actually,
oh yes, it is now documented and somewhere in the archives of the museum, and which helps. These discussions can be initiated by the communities, can be initiated by the private sector and government as well, in bringing to life the debate on what unifies us, bringing to life the debate on how we move as a society and how we can integrate as a society. There are various themes that the private sector has taken on. At one point at the museum, we had a milk festival. They exhibited the story of milk and how it is important, especially to the communities, the farming communities, what products they're able to produce out of them, what equipment they use, which are the cows that produce and those that don't produce as much. And it was a very interesting and insightful discussion that we had and had been prompted by the private sector. We had another one about flowers. People came and demonstrated horticulture.
That's creativity.
And, creativity, yes. We've had several about art and craft. People do come and exhibit their creativity in terms of art and craft and using this space as a museum. So in a way, we recruit or bring on board the private sector to take advantage of the facility that is there. There are a number of performances that have been held at the museum, and these are the new spaces. We just talked about the Omugaba Palace Heritage Museum. A number of performances, events can now be held in that space to promote the Ankole culture, to share the Ankole culture and the like. And at specific, they are themed museum spaces. We have one on minerals.
Interesting.
We have one on currency.
I'm looking for one on oil.
Yes, yes, one on oil is coming. Oil and gas. We have one on currency. We've also moved into the cultural spaces. Buganda is coming up with, is developing one. It has one, but is amplifying one. Busoga definitely has one that recounts the story of Busoga. So all these communities are able now, from a private sector point of view, to bring the best they have and display it from that perspective. And
you make me think, okay, Commissioner, go on in now.
Maybe also to say that with private sector, we have worked closely with the Igongo Museum.
I visited that one.
And Igongo has been part and parcel. He mentioned about milk exhibition. Of course, if I talk about Kalamajongs and Itesots, you find that when we're doing research, you find that the artifacts from Karamoja and Iteso or Ateso, they will be related. And so when we are speaking about history and how we are brothers and sisters, then it helps, you know, that reconciliation comes in because these are people who came together just as these left the Karamajongs, you know the name Ikara, you know, old and tired. And so you find that these people remained the other side, but their culture,
their roots,
roots, everything is the same. And so with that, of course, Igongo Museum was key in, and we collaborated. So as we were working in the East, Igongo was working in the West, and they were part and parcel. Actually, they were the initiators of this project. Something else where we are working with the Igongo and other private sector players is where we are talking about promotion of traditional medicine. Because right now we have a moving or exhibition that is going around on traditional medicine, and Igongo has been part and parcel of this, and even in terms of fundraising, because we think that, you know, we can do beyond medicine or clinical medicine. And so we know, of course, that culturally there, even the first, I think, Caesar that was done here in Uganda was in a cultural way, and in Mengo with a knife that is right now in a museum.
Very interesting.
In UK.
They should bring it back.
And so when we look at culture, of course, it can easily be intertwined with technology, and it is all about how you want to do it. And so in terms of bridging the gap or bridging, you know, unity and ensuring that we have shared heritage, because we are looking at unity and shared heritage. And so it's where you find that we share, you know, because we share this heritage. He has talked about the Basoga and the Banyoro sharing the heritage. And so there would be no reason why these people would fight in any way. You find I've talked about the Karamajongs and the Itesots. They share their roots. There is no reason why they should remain feeling that, you know, these people are, you know, different. And they are just because they now stay in different districts, but they are the same, and they come from the. So when we discuss about this, and we are going to go deeper as well when we do the exhibitions at Moroto Museum, whereby we shall bring in some of these similarities. And also apart from similarities, you'll find that, of course, we can't fail to talk about the geology of the area and other things that will benefit our learners. But I just wanted to interject because really we cannot work without private sector. And we are saying, Samuel, that we let private sector come. This is shared heritage. Let them benefit. Let them come and, you know, do this other work. We are talking of different sites. We have talked about Uganda Museum, which is being renovated. We have put different craft shops that will be used by private sector. In Moroto, we have put space for a canteen. We need people from there to come and leverage and, you know, benefit from what government has put in place. We have talked about Mugaba Palace Heritage Site. We need the private sector to come and tap into that. We have talked about Chikorongo, where we are putting a restaurant and, you know, still craft area. We want to work with private sector because the more we promote these spaces together, all of us, we shall be able to benefit.
Absolutely, thank you. And as both of you spoke, you noticed the evolution of, let me say, marriage, cross-cultural marriages. You notice that there is no longer, let me say what, bona fide culture, original. People are mixing things as they go. And I'm thinking that's a very interesting story for museum, but for evolution, and it bridges gaps. Because now if a Muganda man marries a Iteset, you know, girl, you may find a blend of culture in the introduction ceremony.
Oh, yes.
And that's an evolution. Story to tell.
Very interesting.
And bridging, because I've realized this, museums is also about telling stories.
And just there, that is what much of what the community museums are doing. Documenting the evolution, the former ways of introduction in a particular area, then comparing it with the
how it has evolved over time.
Then, as regards to the theme of the year, as the National Museum works on the national, the bigger part, bridging the tribes and whatever. For us, we are looking at now the small division is we have a division in the religion. Look at religion, religion and the culture and heritage. There somewhere they are as if wives. So the community museum, like we have a community museum in Kagadi, URDT, promoting the Mpako naming ceremonies. Some religious groups think it is satanic, it is condemned, but we are using this community museum in the village to teach, demystify that issue. In Masaka, we have Budu Community Museum promoting the skill of making baka clothes. Some people think the baka clothes is condemned attire.
It's just back clothes.
But it's just a clothes.
No, even it is a World Heritage. It's under intangible. Back cloth was nominated as a World Heritage. Intangible heritage. Artifact. So really, back cloth is used in many ways, and you'll find people dressed smartly in back cloth.
And I was still with you, Prince. How can we transition community museums? And thank you for highlighting them. I know they exist. We need to make more noise.
Yes.
How can we transition them to become to national original assets that attract visitors? Your suggestions. The government, ladies and gentlemen, are listening.
First of all, I must appreciate the commissioner and his team. We always engage them to train the caretaker or the curators in the community museums, so that they can transform them to be a little bit national, to become national curators. That is one thing. Then supporting us like with the supervision and also guiding us. We are soon yet to benefit from the financial support. Since Mr. Elias is here.
Don't worry.
Maybe one time we shall also benefit financially, but at least we are there transitioning, trying to see that we upgrade ourselves to the level that is done. Now we have got chances that these community museums are now on the tourism routes. As tourists visit a national game park, they branch to
the package.
Yes. And the one thing, important thing that we have gone into is preparing traditional meals. One day I visited the Kogere Community Museum in Fort Portal. I will not mention, I found one meal Saturday, I said, I've come to eat my food. Because in Kampala, they're eating junk food. But when he goes to the village, he goes there to test the real heritage, the real food. So at least that is another way of.
That's very clever,
but we are trying to. We have trained our staff that they should be smart, be clean, so that if somebody comes, doesn't look at a filthy thing, to detest it and whatever.
And be very knowledgeable as well.
No, very clever thing about food.
Yes.
Is as long as we keep the phytosanitary, those things.
Yes.
It's a very, because I will come.
Then with the mega resources we are getting from UNESCO and other organizations, we are printing books, booklets at least, about these stories. So that they may no longer be just told stories, but they are written. But somebody can get a book and read. That one is okay. And by goodness chance, we have also been they have started inviting us. Last week, that museum in Fort Portal was in Mombasa for an exhibition representing Uganda, the Kingdom of Bunyoro and Toro. Another team represented Busoga and other areas. So at least we are there. We only urge Uganda needs to embrace the community museums, visit the community museums. Like I was saying, it goes, be a Ugandan, visit a community museum. If you haven't, then you are not a Ugandan, we assume.
I want to add to your voice, since Commissioner and Mr. Elias are here, making noise online. If possible, we can do a campaign one of these years, maybe next year. A special campaign for museums. I tell you, Ugandans respond. I know you are doing a lot of effort in the capacity, in the quality, but now we need to bring the candle more on top of the table, I'm thinking, so that like the food issue, come and eat food, they will come. They will come. Come and see how meat was prepared, I don't know.
Yes.
I'm just thinking about product.
Yes.
We need to move now.
Maybe that's why with our law, we agreed to license them. And the president or the chairperson of Ukoma was in those meetings, and we agreed at least for any person to be responsible, they need to be licensed. And so for us to easily do the monitoring and be able to, when you have a license, you abide by all the rules and regulations. Because we noted, of course, there are some people who were coming up with craft shops and calling them community museums or private museums. And so that's why we have come up with the standards, so that as they perform these duties on our behalf, then they do the right thing, and we all promote the country together.
Okay, you have answered my question on the licensing regime, and I see time is running out. Let me come to Mr. Nyazi.
Yes.
Harnessing technology, and I know, Commissioner, you are very passionate about that, but let me go to Mr. Nyazi first on the issue of technology to attract young people. I mean, if you want to get young people now, TikTok.
You're right.
And so on.
Nowhere else.
What are we going to do to bring museums, technologically speaking, to the young generation? I know you are doing things. Please tell us.
First of all, you're very right. Technology is the way to go. It enables people to do work in a much more efficient, in a much more better way. It allows accessibility because previously, when we would talk about museums, there were physical locations. You could only go to the Uganda Museum, Kitante Road, in order to experience.
I once went there with my dad and I found it closed twice.
Hey!
So we... a long time ago.
Those were a long time ago.
Absolutely.
These days, it's always open, although we are under construction, renovation right now. It used to be a physical space.
Yeah.
And I think this applies in many other industries. Right now, you're able to access it on the website and are able to interact with the various artifacts that are there. You're able to gain more information virtually. So I think that is a very positive innovation that has enabled us to improve on accessibility.
Yeah.
So that even if I'm in Karamoja and I want to know what is in Kisoro, I just go online and pick up that information. The other bit, and I've seen this in various museums all over the world, is the interpretative equipment.
Yeah.
We come from different languages. So the need for an interpreter is now being bridged out with technology.
Technology is translating.
Yeah, it is translating.
Wow, interesting.
It is even guiding. Yeah, so you're able to go to a particular artifact, even the sites, and pick up these gadgets, and they're able to tell you the story.
Select a language.
Yes, select the language that you prefer, and you're able to tell the story. We are moving AI. Now it is even more interactive. I can even ask a few questions.
Okay.
What do you think about it? What probably happened here and there? And AI will help you to interpret and answer those questions given the knowledge base that it does have. So really, in terms of product development, technology has assisted us a lot in improving the experiences of the museums. But more importantly, also technology is helping us in promoting these facilities. You just talked about the media platforms that are emerging, social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and so on and so forth. And we do encourage young people, when they move to these spaces, to snap away. Yeah? Because when you snap and share, then everybody gets to know the story, and everybody says, oh, yes, I would love to go there. If you can see the kind of interest that we've generated with Chikorongo, you know, whenever people stop there, they take a photo and say, hey, everybody says, oh my God, where is this? Yeah. Next time, I have to go and stop over there. And indeed, we are seeing a lot of traffic going to Chikorongo. And when you ask them, how did you get to know about this thing? No, on the internet, on TikTok, on Snapchat. Somebody shared this information. So really, technology is helping us to improve on our accessibility through the media platforms, to tell the story more positively so that it is widely circulated, but also with interpretative equipment and also able to spread the package to those who are not physically there. Okay,
thank you very much. We are running out of time here. Commissioner, I'm coming back to you now. This year's museum, International Museum Days in Jinja, the celebration. Why Jinja?
Thank you.
I know you know. Even while the prince is listening.
Yes, now Samuel, of course, why Jinja one? I will start by saying Jinja has the source of the Nile. Jinja has places where, you know, when we see Uganda, beginning of Uganda at independence, that is a place where we know that we had the Queen visit when she even slept at Ripon Falls Hotel. Jinja, of course, pre-colonial or before colonial, we have the Indians and different historical buildings. But of course, the Busoga, we talked about regional balancing. When we started moving out, for 10 years plus, we used to celebrate International Museums Day at the Uganda Museum. Sometimes we would walk from Fort Lugard, or previously Fort Lugard, even now it's still there, where we have the Gaddafi Mosque, to the National Museum. But in 2023, we agreed that we start moving out, and we started with Gulu. We had the International Museums Day still. Our guest of honor was Her Excellency, the Vice President. 2024, we were in Soroti. 2025, we were in Kabade.
I remember last year.
And so we said 2026, let's get closer. And we also preach to our neighbors. We talk to, you know, charity begins at home. And we see as we promote, or as we also get into talking about or even unpacking our act, then we enter into the nearby where we know we have historical buildings, but we also have culture. We have good relationship with the Busoga Kingdom, and we even recently visited the Chabazinga. There is a lot of heritage within that area. We have Fort Luba, where we have Thraston and Luba, who was the chief, and there is a lot of, even we know about slavery there. We have Dore Island, where we have the images that are more than 5,000 years. Prince Chitaura has talked about these other sites, you know, which are there that we want to show the public. And so that is why we said, okay, Jinja fits to be the next host, and the Jinja City Council, not even being near, but they have that heritage that is not everywhere. So as we talk about shared heritage, as we talk about bridging unity and peace, these are still things that we can find in Jinja. And so that's why we shall start at Leire. When we talk about Leire Museum,
I've been told we have 1 minute, Commissioner.
Yes, when we talk about Leire Museum, of course, we learn about our relationship in East Africa, because this is shared heritage. What was it at that time when we first had the Leire, cotton, everything. And so maybe we shall have different activities. Right now we are having ICOM Uganda is having an exhibition at Emin Pasha Hotel. I call viewers to go and visit these exhibitions at Emin Pasha. And then we shall have, of course, we are going to Jinja to educate, you know, the learners and the communities. We shall have community sessions where our team are going to go to communities and show them what we have as a country. Then we have heritage quizzes where we are interacting with the students. And on the final day, on 18th, we are going to have a walk or a march past with the band, where we shall walk from the one of the civil society, because it is Cross Culture Foundation that worked with Leire to a cooperation to start a museum in Jinja. And so that's where we shall walk from to rugby grounds to celebrate our international museums.
And I know that we are going to have also an X-Space on the same. Join us on the X-Space to get more details. We have been discussing the International Day for Museums, and the theme is Uniting a Divided World. That's the theme, but there is more to the theme underneath. Celebrations on May 18th in Jinja. Private sector, I hope you had the opportunities. Thank you very much for joining us. And my guests tonight, let me just introduce them as we go out, was Dr. Jacqueline Nyirakiza Besige, Acting Commissioner, Museums and Monuments, Mr. Vivian Liazi, Commissioner, Tourism Development, and lastly, Prince Chitaura Abraham, Chairperson, Uganda Community Museums Association.